Truth. Truth. Speaking your truth. Feeling into your truth. And for some, this means facing some truths that are difficult. So last week, the intention was to let go of our past hurts and our past wounds, and to realize that when we hold on to them, that it's our ego running the show. And the intention was to make a shift, to get the ego out of the driver's seat and to start to lead with your heart. Put the heart in the driver's seat. But also to make that ego our friend. We need the ego. We need its fire, its strength, its will. But we don't need it running the show. So in order to step into a better future, we take that will and that strength of the ego and we lead with the heart. And so what many of us may have discovered is that we can't get our ego out of the driver's seat. We can't. Either maybe we refuse to, or we just don't know how to. So this week is finding those truths, facing some of those difficult truths. Why can't I get my ego out of the driver's seat? Why is this so scary for me to let go of some of this stuff? And so these are some of those truths that come up that we have to face, because it's very scary. And that's why your ego's saying, I'm not getting out of the driver's seat here. It's keeping us safe in some way. And those are some of the truths we have to look at. Like maybe it's keeping you safe in a toxic situation or a relationship. And it's like, I can't stop driving the ship here. You need me to survive. And as children, we may have learned that in some way, or, we'll get there, but we may have learned to cope or to survive by staying in a space of survival mode, of the ego needing to drive. So it's hard to get out of that habit pattern and behavior. But it can also be very scary to let down those defenses if the ego's getting you something that you need or want. So again, patterns and habits. And it's tough to break those patterns and habits. So I'm going to ask the ego to trust, or ask you to ask your ego to trust the process and come into the heart and to really be willing to face some hard truths. Maybe it's been protecting you from. So it's time. It really is, because when we can speak our truth, when we can feel into the truth, when we can let go or reconcile with some old ways of being, when we can reconcile the past, old wounds, old hurts, old fears, old resentments, that is when we can make the ego our friend, lead with the heart, face some hard truths, speak them, feel them, and that's when we can shift them. The 30th of September is Truth and Reconciliation Day. And so I really want to honor this day. And we honor it fully, because what this day really is, at the heart of it, is about facing truths that are hard to look at. But it's also about listening deeply to the collective, to the past, to the ancestors, to the hurt, to the wounds, to the fears, to the injustice. To listen deeply, to feel that. And we can't bypass the feeling part of it. It's a really big part of it. Because when we can face some of these really hard truths and look at them and feel everything that is deeper and beneath it, we can then choose to reconcile it. And in my opinion, to heal, we need to forgive ourselves, the collective, the hurts and the wounds. We have to forgive the past, because that is the reconciliation that will lead us on a path into healing, to healing the future generation. So we can't do this collectively or as a society. We can't truly honor this truth and reconciliation if we don't go within and begin to do this for ourselves. So yes, in history, we honor this day, but the work begins with each of us. Because the essence of this day is truth. It is listening. It's healing. We have to heal from the past. And that can only be done if we each go inward to our own lives. What needs to be healed in your life? And this is about being truthful and honest with ourselves. Speaking our truths, feeling our truth, letting others have their truth, and letting them speak those truths, and letting them feel their truths. It is about releasing the past, releasing the old stories and the old hurt. That's the only way to heal the patterns and to break the patterns. We want to break this cycle of fear and hurt. And the only way to do it is to go inward. So when we move into chakra systems, energy systems, this is the throat chakra. This is where speaking our truth comes from. And this is where truth lives, is in our throat chakra. And not the shiny, polished truth that we like to, tell on the surface, but the raw truth that we often avoid telling ourselves or speaking to ourselves. And that's where the ego comes in to resist, facing these truths and telling these truths. No, it's not safe. I don't want to feel these wounds. I want to control and move beyond and fall into different patterns and habits so that I don't have to face this. But it's not protecting us anymore, right? It's holding us in patterns that aren't serving us. And this could be patterns that keep us in, again, relationships that don't serve us, or toxic relationships. And it's really time to get honest with ourselves. Otherwise, we can't heal it or break those patterns and move forward with it. So this week, I'm going to challenge you to really question, be honest, the honest truth. What are some truths that you're avoiding, that you may be scared to face in your life? Where, again, if you're getting resistance from this ego coming out of the driver's seat, there are some harder truths that are hard to face and are scared to be faced. But it's so important, because on the other side of this is where our happiness is. This is where our freedom is. But we can't go around the truth to find happiness and freedom. We have to go through it. So these are asking ourselves these truths. What am I avoiding? Am I living a lie? Am I living in an environment that is toxic? Just trying to keep the peace, right? Or what are we holding on to? Why are we keeping something alive? What is it serving us? Because if we're keeping an old fear, an old story, an old resentment alive, it is serving us in some way, whether it's keeping us safe or getting us things that we're not willing to let go of. So this is the throat chakra, about facing some of these tough truths. And this throat chakra can't do it alone. It needs the help of the heart to lead the ego into this. But it also brings in our navel chakra, the sacral chakra, which is all about feeling. So truth alone isn't enough. You have to feel. And that's where the energy of this navel chakra comes in. The navel chakra asks us to honor our emotions and to let them move and flow. Honor the fear, honor the resentments, honor whatever is keeping us stuck. Because reconciliation isn't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's not about pretending that we're not resentful or fearful or, we're a victim of something. It's not about that. It's about feeling what needs to be felt. This is not something we can skip or bypass. It is something so important that all of us need to feel. And yes, collectively, we need to feel it, for the past. And, every child matters. Every person matters. Every emotion matters. This is the truth we need to face. But the only way to reconcile it is to feel it and to allow those feelings to be felt. So as communities, yes, we need to honor these truths, these hard truths that are hard to look at. We need to listen. And then we choose reconciliation from there. We choose to feel it. Yes, we feel it collectively. We go inward. And we feel it in our own experiences of our own life. Let go of the stories. This is how the ego can start to realize it's not alone. It doesn't have to face this alone. It doesn't have to protect us from the fear. It doesn't have to protect us from the resentment. It doesn't have to protect us from toxic situations from the past. And come into the heart. We can speak the truth. We can face some of these truths. We can feel them. And when these all work together, we can move beyond the fear. We can move beyond the hurt. We can move beyond the old stories. We can release the past, whether it's collectively in the truth and reconciliation of the past, or whether it's in our own life. Whatever is not working in your life currently, it's time to face some hard truths. And as we do this personally for ourselves, we heal the past. We heal the past collectively, and we heal for the next generation. So we can do it, yes, outward. And that is what truth and reconciliation does, is it honors, the outward, but not in outrage, in healing, in feeling, in facing these truths so we can heal the past. It's about letting go of the past, reconciling the past with compassion, with feeling. And then we can do that in our own, when we can stand in our own hard truths and feel what needs to be felt there and reconcile our own paths. That's when we can heal the future. That's when we can step into the next generation. The next generation can make different choices. If we can heal where we are in our life, then we can reconcile the past. So that's what this week's intention is to be really honest with yourself. Really honest with yourself. Like raw, hard truths. Look in the mirror. Look at your ego. Ask it. It's about making your ego your friend. You don't need to drive the car anymore. Don't drive by past patterns. Break the patterns. That's what this is all about. It's more. Reconciliation cannot happen until we're honest and truthful and face the raw truth. We can break the patterns if we can truly be in those hard truths and feel them. We can't bypass the feeling. We have to feel it. We can't avoid the truths anymore. We just can't. If we want to break patterns here in our own life, in our own families, in the past hurts, we have to be willing to no longer avoid the tough, scary truths. So if you're living in a toxic relationship or a situation, whether that's in your job, in your friendships, in your partnerships, in your family, it is time to face those. Don't avoid them. If you're holding on to a story, that ego can't get out of the driver's seat because it's holding on to a story. You have to face that. What am I getting out of this? Right? What am I getting out of being a victim? What am I getting out of not having to face this or feel it or release it? We can't move forward. So that's what this week is all about, my friends. Speak your truth. Feel into that truth. Face some tough truths. And do it with compassion. Lead with the heart. Do it with compassion. Do it with love. Do it with forgiveness. So speak your truth. Listen. Feel those truths. Let others speak their truth and feel their truth. This is how we heal. This is how we heal personally. This is how we heal anything in our life that is not working. And this, my friends, is how we heal collectively. It's how we heal the past and break old patterns, and how we step into the future with some new truths, create some new stories, ones of strength and love and forgiveness. That's truth and reconciliation. Thank you, my friend.